We would like to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you at the nice global conclave from the labs of the beautiful Himalayas, where the Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement is located. The think tank was established in the month of February in the year 2016. It undertakes independent research in the field of international relations, foreign policy, security studies, and development. NICE has 4 research centers: China Studies, Neighborhood Studies, Non-Traditional Security Studies, and Security and Strategic Studies. The Institute focuses on 8 research topics: climate change and energy, global governance, sustainable development and smart cities, refugee and migration, China's Belt and Road Initiative, border and transboundary water politics, Indo-Pacific affairs, disaster management, and international economy and development. Previously, NICE has had the opportunity to host distinguished speakers from all around the globe.
It was a great pleasure inviting me to speak here at NICE.
It's a real pleasure to be able to speak with all of you.
Well, thank you anyway, and I certainly admire the work that you're doing.
I'm very happy to be with you all.
NICE Global Conclave is the flagship event of the Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement, Nepal. The theme of the 3-day conference is Connecting Nepal to the World by bringing leaders, diplomats, business leaders, and scholars from all around the globe. The objective of the conclave is to introduce Nepal to the world and at the same time update the Nepalese policymakers and experts about the fast-changing geopolitics, which will help Nepal reshape its foreign policy to achieve its national goal. This is the 16th session of the conference, and to chair and moderate this session, it's a real pleasure to have with us Dr. Prakash Bhattarai. Dr. Prakash Bhattarai is the Director of Center for Social Change. He has been a visiting research scholar at the Department of Peace and Conflict Research, Uppsala University, Sweden, and at Peace Research Institute in Germany. He has worked with several international organizations and published several articles in peer-reviewed journals. Without any further ado, I now request the chair to take forward the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pramodji, and the entire NICE team for inviting me to be the chair of this very important session that that you're hosting in this conclave. And the title of today's session is Nepal's political instability and breaking the vicious circle. So we have 4 distinguished speakers to speak, and this session will go for about an hour. So basically, before starting, before giving floor to the speaker, I just want to take a few minutes just to give a little bit of background on this, the topic. So basically, if we look at the last 3 decades of post-democracy period of Nepal, it remained politically unstable for various reasons. So just to give an example, over the past 3 decades, Nepal has witnessed, a decade-long armed conflict, and we also had the situation of this undemocratic control of the state power from the king, and we had this 2006 non-violent people revolutions for changing the regime, as well as restoring peace in the country. And we also witnessed Madhes movement, which is a sub-national movement fighting for identity and inclusion. And then we also experienced this ending of a decade-long armed conflict through signing of peace accord in 2006. And we had the election of Constituent Assembly in 2008. Then Nepal also has been, successful to write a new constitution with the provision of inclusion and proportional representation, though it is still under debate. And election of the 3-tier of government has been able to form the federal, provincial, and the local level government. Despite all these, different political progresses, Nepal's overall political atmosphere seems still volatile. Just to give an example, the parliament, the federal parliament has been dissolved 2 times over the period of the last 3 months. The ruling party has split and lost its nearly 2/3 majority. The opposition parties have been greatly suffered due to their internal rifts and other factors. Along with that, the state institutions have not been able to meet the expectation of people, which they had hoped to improve with the writing of the new constitution. So the question would be, given in this backdrop, the question would be like, why the positive development that had took place in Nepal due to various political struggle have not been able to produce some better result that could make Nepal's political process relatively stable. And there was a kind of a rhetoric that a new constitution, of Nepal was considered as a tool to bring stability in the country. There is not so much, high confrontation among political actors on issues around constitution, but politics is still fragile. Why? And what are the key actors responsible for creating instability? Is it geopolitical? Is it political parties? Is it a party building process? Is it people, or like there are other factors? So with these questions, we are trying to look for some practical solution for breaking the vicious cycle of political instability. And to address these questions, we have 4 important high-profile speakers. And without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Ganga Bahadur Thapa to deliver his remarks, and each speaker will get 8 minutes to deliver their remarks, and then we'll have like some time for question and answer. So Professor Thapa, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Prakash. First, let me thank the organizer, particularly Pramod Jaiswal, for having me today. Okay, it is very difficult to deal the subject matter we are given in 8 or 10 minutes, but I will try to be very brief and very, concise. Let me start by saying that political system, democracy itself is a, that unstable political system, democracy. Only, that political systems are stable if there are totalitarian authoritarian system are more stable than democratic system. So how to deal with is a very difficult task. It is saying that democracy is very hard to win, you can say very difficult to sustain and easy to lose. So democracy is stable, political system, if there is a democracy, it is stable only for 4 years, maybe 5 years. In presidential system, the election goes for the 4 years. In parliamentary system, that basically it goes to 5 years. So they are stable for 5 years. Again, talking about the democracy, that you have mentioned in your introduction, Nepal first held parliamentary election in 1959. So it could not over more than 17 months. And we started a kind of authoritarian political system known as panchayat, everybody knows. Now that also another 30 years, we are experimenting different kind of constitutions, different kind of models. In this past 30 years also, maybe we can say that democracy is not stable and there are various problems. That talking about political system, that most of the political system are good, and Nepal's political systems also in 1959 and also we have now also are good. Many things are responsible, but talking about the democracy, you know that there are basically 5 components of democracy. One is electoral, one is liberal, one is participatory, one is deliberative, one is that egalitarian. So sometimes it is very difficult to categorize in 5 components. But that the thing is that if you are talking about that, that if the government is regulated for 5 years and it should be stable 5 years, and then it is called as that liberal democracy, or it is called as that stable democracy. I do not believe on that. That there is an election for 5 years. Many in 5 years, maybe 2-3 governments also can change. It does not that have any connection with this their political stability. So that we see the Italy and Japan, in other countries also in 5 years there will be 3-4 governments and nothing will be changed here. So it is very difficult to that distinguish and categorize. There are no well-defined rules and that talking about the political system, stable or unstable. But there are some indicators we can that we can evaluate whether the political system is stable or unstable. First is the constitutional. If the constitution is designed that in a manner that so everybody can get together, mean that maybe political system can work for several years, maybe several decades, that maybe with some changes. So first constitution should be that there must be a common ground, so that we in Nepal, everybody knows that we have 7 constitution and 70 years, mean that every 10 years we have the new constitution. So maybe there's something is lacking in our constitution framing, and all of the that groups in the society, they are not feeling that they have the ownership in the constitution. So we must find a common ground in the constitution to make the democracy or political system stable. Second, institution. It is related to institution. Institution means that parliament, electoral reforms, land reforms, economic redistributions, social justice, health, housing, education, civil society, religious institutions. They should work, that without any state domination, or they should be free, this kind of things. So institutions also should be there. They should be more functional. In third is the relations. When I'm talking about this kind of some characteristic of stable democracy, the relational. Relation means the political system should get some kind of recognition, some kind of acceptance, some kind of respect, some kind of security, some kinds of justice. That benefiting or reflecting the poor, marginalized peoples, oppressed groups. So willing to address their concerns and politically. So that if the political system concerns the basically, that lower strata peoples without any, that discriminations and marginalization, maybe the political system can be more stable, more functional, more, that people, that connected with the peoples. So, that there must be a kind of, the civic culture, means that the political, there must be a, society which accept tolerance, that prepared to adopt others' viewpoints also, ideas. So that this is one the fourth category, civic culture. First, I was talking about the constitutional, second, institutional, third is recognitions, and fourth is civic culture. And that the politicians should adopt, adjust the new ideas. They should have to get involved the new peoples, new ideas. That they should have the, accept the new kind of ideas also. In Nepalese context, if you are talking, same people are working since 30 years, maybe 40 years, 50 years. They are not accepting the new ideas, and that so most of the models, so most of the activities are almost the same. We can see the people. So this is one thing. Third, that fifth, that this is the that political system should govern. A government should govern. In the sense, in the real sense of the term, there must be, that some minimum kind of democratic society should be there. So, that talking about the stability also, it is conduct, effectiveness, and if the government is there, if the political system should have a kind of authenticity, a kind of decision making capacity. This is the basic that characteristic of the talking about the and that some characteristics of the stable democracy. But the problem of Nepal, I am concentrating on Nepal. That political system we are adopting now is a very progressive system, very participatory system, very inclusive system also, as I think. That the problem with that, the political system I can compare with the football ground. Football, the size of the football ground is, everywhere is the same. Whether you play the football in United States, in United Kingdom, in Germany, Japan, the size of the football, is almost the same. But the players are different. Somewhere, in some countries, the play, they follow the rules, they follow the norms. They also, that they also practice some kind of democratic exercise. So, that it is not a problem of the political system in Nepal. It is the problem of leadership I'm talking about. Basically, in the context of Nepal, everything is good. We have the very, very, very progressive political system, as I just mentioned, and very, no groups in terms of religion, in terms of race, in terms of, face, they are not discriminated, according to constitution. But that in practice, some of the people is still very backward. They are not in the forefront. And some of the people, they do not think that they have the ownership in the constitution. So one problem is there. So I'm talking about that. So the problem is the leaders. I'm talking about the leadership. They are not playing a fair game, and they are not participating. They are not, that accommodating the new ideas, new viewpoints. These are the things. So, and political leadership is more impulsive, more self-centered. So and they think about the next elections, then the next generation kind of. They want everything to quick fixes. They have their near-term interest, not long-term interest. This is the kind of leadership we have: self-centered, self-congratulatory, and that they are corrupted. This kind of thing. That I'm not saying. Of course, there are some problems in our constitution. Maybe this can be, amended in course of time. Not a big difference in the, among the political parties. I mean that that political system can function well if there is a majority of the political forces. They support it, and our constitution, Nepal's constitution, which we have adopted in 2015, that more than 90% of the political forces, they supported it. So there is no big differences in the looking in the constitution. But I'm just talking that the political leadership is the main, which is not functioning well. So that this kind of things and the political leadership, they are concentrating to capture the power rather than the delivering the things. So we have the liberal political system. We have every 4 years we have an election, but our political system is not delivering. Our leadership, which were we elected them, they are not coming by themselves. We elected them. They are not connected with the people. They are not delivering. This is the system that our political system is not very, that stable, and there are various kinds of dissatisfaction among the people. So deliver.
You have 1 minute, one more minute to finish.
Okay. So that that, and again that our political party are not broad-based. That they do not allow to enter new groups of people. The younger people are very, very in a low number in every political party, in Congress, in the communist, every political party, in RPP and Sarai groups. There are many groups, but that they are not. Some people are the same kind of people. They are dominating the political party leadership. So this is the one means that the political parties are not broad-based, and that our political system, institution like the parliament, like the judiciary, like the executive, the main thing, that even that press, other things, they are not responsible, they are not effective, they do not go for the long-term policy. That we in these 30 years. No government is talking seriously about the changes in the policies. That they are just talking about the when next government will be there, when that next election will be there, whether they win the election or not. This kind of things also is there. So there is also, you know, that in Nepalese context, the bureaucracy also not neutral. You know that it is, you know, that politicized. You know, so that everywhere in the democratic society, the civil, you know, that service always maintain the neutrality, which is the government, you know, that whatever the nature of the government, this kind of. So our bureaucracy, which is the, you know, the permanent government, it is called as, they are easily motivated. Even our education system, our hospitals, everywhere, you know, there is a party sides, not only party side, there are party sides. If there is a party side, not a big problem. Also, there is a party side. You know that when there is a change of government and a new political party will come in power, and new kind of people they are appointing, this kind of things also there. So you know that there is no accountability, there is no transparency, there is no equality, there is no inclusiveness. You know that in name, you know that the 2015 constitution, it is an inclusive constitution, but same kind of people, you know that I don't want to say this kind of things, but you know that certain groups are still dominating politics, in judiciary, everywhere. And the main thing, you know, that in Nepalese context, civil society also is not free. Then most of the civil society groups comes from the party members. They are also leading. You know, civil society should be free in the sense that they should not have any kind of intention to enter into power. They should work like, you know, the third, you know, that they speak the truth. As you know, the civil society, but our civil society groups also, most of the, you know, that leading members belong to one party and others. So there is also a kind of lacuna. Political party are not broad-based, civil society not very, you know, that independent. Our media also, you know, that not very, you know, that independent in the sense that they also align in one party and another party, same kind of news we can read in different newspapers in different way. Some, you know, that we are seeing right now, we are reading the newspaper daily, you know, that we can find different kind of version about the court version, you know, this kind of thing. So that
can you please wrap up, sir? It's been more than 8
okay,
minutes.
you know, that you know, that I have not very thing to say, but you know that let me say one more sentence, that we have a very good and very progressive political systems. There is no doubt there is less to blame in our political system. And I don't say that it is 100% perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world. Even no constitution in the world is perfect. So maybe there are some problems in our constitution to get, you know, that all the people, you know, that involved in the political system to get the ownership. But you know that the main thing we are seeing, and it is Nepalese problem, is the leadership. You know that leadership, and as you also mentioned in your, you know, the introduction, that maybe not only leadership, our leadership also is very, you know, that sometimes motivated by the external forces, not only geopolitics as you mentioned, because basically we are influenced by India, China. That it is everywhere. Is a country like ours, you know, that we cannot avoid the, you know, the Indian and China interest in Nepal. You know that, but you know that also
I just
motivated
motivated
by. I'm finishing. You know that influenced by other powers also, Western powers, European powers. There are so many powers also, and basically our leadership sometimes we are very much influenced by our neighbors. Thank you very much for your.
Thank you, Ganga sir. Sorry for interrupting you because of the time pressure. But if we have time, we'll give you a floor one more time. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Rakesh Mishra, who is Executive Director of North-South Collectives, to deliver his remarks. Rakesh sir, floor is yours, and you have 8 minutes to finish your remark.
Okay, I will try to finish in 7 minutes, Prakash. Thank you very much. Thank you, nice team, for inviting me to this with this eminent group of people. Most of them are, I mean, all of them are professors, my professors, directly or indirectly. I feel a bit shy to speak before them, but anyhow, I have to speak. So for the brevity, I mean, main issues, and rather I will try to answer other questions if they come up in the question answer round. Let me start with how do we understand political instability? The introduction or the general discourse in the media, the general narrative prevalent in the people. We have a tendency, mainly or unknowingly, to see political instability in terms of change of government, in terms of change of prime ministers, in terms of change of rulers, and in some cases, in terms of change of the governing system like democracy, republican, or autocracy, monarchy, whatever. I think that, of course, they are part of the political instability, but this is, political instability is caused by a myriad of factors, social factors, economic factors, even nowadays environmental factors. They cause political instability, and it is generally, if we look at the symptom, the ruler may not change. Like in Nepal, Ranas ruled for 104 years. Can you say that it was a stable political system? Shahs ruled for, like, say, absolute rule for 30 years, and or if we take Krishna and Shah as the starting point, 240 years. Was there any political stability, or can you say that there was political stability? So we have to understand the term political instability in the larger perspective of things, that there are several variables involved in that. One variable is, of course, political system, and since particularly this century, and say after others. But if you look behind, if you scratch the surface, you will still see that there is some sort of other factors which are important. And in the Nepali case particularly, or in this part of the world, South Asian or world, or even African world, or some part of East Asia, social factors are more important variable than any other for the political instability. Now, let me jump to, with that notion, that how I understand it may not be perfect, but that's how I understand political instability. With that notion, I will broadly categorize Nepal's political instability in three broad headings. I'll not say there are three categories, but three broad headings. The one is structural, historical. I beg pardon, Prakash, when you started the discussion, you said that we have seen a lot of political instability in the last 30 years. I probably do not agree with that notion, which I have already mentioned. I think political instability was from the time of unification. You can see there were several feuds within the royal families. When Ranas took over, there was Kot Parv, Bhandar Khal Parv, then Narayan Hiti Parv, and also take into account several social movements which happened around that period that we call, that we love to call a stable period of Nepal, or the golden age of Nepal. That was not stable at all. There were a lot of killings, there were a lot of oppression, and I cannot turn there were no institutions, and whatever institutions we had, they gradually rotted, which caused political instability. So political instability started with the unification process, so-called unification process of Nepal. Unification process itself, it was very, very, I will say, I'm a bit confused to use the word, or reluctant to use the word. It was very divisive. It was very deceitful. It was based on both military power. That is our unification process, and that's for what we, or those who glorify Krishna and Shah, do that. I completely, I have a view that unification process itself sowed the seed of, this political instability in this country, that you conquered a lot of princely estates and you did not abide by the agreements, or you say contracts, the contracts done with the Lingwan in 1850 or 1860, 1856 or 1816, the contract done with British India about Madhesh. We missed all of them. all of them. So, but what has happened that the flawed unification process and the subsequent rulers after that, what they did is that they established the rule of elites, basically to name them Khetris, who own the war, and the Bahuns, who as appendages of that the Khetri rulers, they created the state institutions, the state rules, which continue discrimination, which breach social contract and further strengthen and division in the society, or the political instability, subsequent political instability. Now coming up to let us move fast forward. There were missed opportunities. We had a chance in 1950 when there was a emancipated Nepali Congress, liberal Nepali Congress made an agreement with the Rana and the king in Delhi. That at that time, some of the social issues could have been addressed, but that was done on a political exigency basis, that you have to accommodate NC. That's how somehow, and India was just free, so they didn't have that diplomatic knowledge of Nepal. So you just signed an agreement and managed it politically. That was a missed opportunity. Then again in 1990, when we, after the Andolan, we had the opportunity, we had the chance to draft the constitution, which could have accommodated some of those social issues. We failed again. We made an agreement between the existing political forces. You can argue that that's how it is done, but if you look at the example of India, when they wrote constitution, there was large debate on social issues. There was a large difference between what we call Ambedkarites and Gandhi, those who followed Gandhi. There was division of the country during that process, during that turning. But here we try to keep everything under carpet, that everything is fine, just to politically manage the actors. Then Maoist war and Janjati Madhesi Andolan to some extent brought those issues to the forefront where we could discuss, but that has to be resultant in the new political contract which we call constitution. But unfortunately, the constitution was made in such a haste, in such a manner after killing 100 Madhesis and other Janjati people, that this constitution utterly failed to even respect the past agreements. So I will say that this constitution, what we have today, and what instability we are talking about, is the root cause of all this mess we have on this state.
So you have 2 minutes. Two more minutes.
2 more minutes, I'll finish, certainly. Then there are geopolitical issues which cause instability. We have to admit it. We are basically, we have to deal with the Britishers, we have to deal with the Chinese, we have to deal with, I don't have to say, Indians, and a lot of water has flown in Ganga and what is that, Yellow River and Kosi, but we have not learned. We are still sticking to that bloody Dibropadesh, which said that Nepal is a yam between 2 boulders. I mean, nobody likes yam nowadays. People like cauliflower. People like good quality food from New Zealand. Who will eat your yam? That's a flawed notion. You are no more a yam, and nobody likes yam. Then another, I will not name him, Bhattarai came, another intellectual leader of Nepal. He said that we are bridge between India and China. I mean, it's simply megalomaniac. You are nothing. I'm a Nepali, but I'm telling you, diplomatically or in the regional power structure, you are nothing. Admit your nothingness. That's the best diplomacy. And I think when we see our military power is 0, our economic power is 0, I mean, compared to those 2 big nations and the Western powers on which we are dependent. So just forget those notions. They are stupid notions. Just try to chalk out a policy on geopolitics, that you admit the reality that you are closer to India than any other country. You have to be dependent on India for centuries to come. Olanchungola and Viratnagar, Kimathanka and Viratnagar cannot be compared. Neither Rasuagaria or Laxol can be compared. So we have, when we talk about our foreign policy, we have to keep that in mind. Now, coming to the, I'll finish in 1 minute now. Coming to, Pramodji had asked that, do you see any hope? I'll say simply, one word answer, no. There is no hope under this constitution. The only hope is that once we burn down this constitution to the ashes and write a new social contract in terms of, we named it constitution or whatever, only then we can address or we can think about political stability or economic prosperity or whatever we dream of.
Okay.
That's my point. I will end with a poem, if you allow. It will take half a minute. I'm not going overboard. It's by Urdu poet Hafiz Jalandhari. It's in Urdu, but I will translate roughly in English for the English audience. अब तो कुछ और भी अंधेरा है. It's a very pessimist note. If you are an optimist person, please mute yourself. अब तो कुछ और भी अंधेरा है, ये मेरी रात का सवेरा है. काफिला किसकी पैरवी से चले, सवाल तो यह है कि कौन यहाँ सबसे बड़ा लुटेरा है. ए मेरी जान, अपने जी के सिवा कौन तेरा है, कौन मेरा है. सो रहा हो प्लीज तुम भी, ये मेरी जिंदगी का डेरा है. It's a very fatalist, very pessimist view, but that's the truth. If I translate roughly it in English, it is, I can translate it. I will like, there is no darkness ahead. Probably this darkness is my morning. Who the caravan should follow, don't know who is the most fearful rover here. There is no one for you, there is no one for me. So better you go to sleep and live your life to your fate. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry for taking a couple of extra minutes.
Yeah, for your very, important remark. And now I'd like to, go with Professor Krishna Hachhethu. And you also have 8 minutes to finish your, initial remark. So,
thank you, Moderator Ji. Actually, just I want to be clear. Can you hear very clearly what I'm speaking?
Yeah, I can hear.
I'm not sure because I'm not in my house. I'm out of a valley. So, I would be happy if you can hear what I'm speaking.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Thanks. So, the topics, what I have to speak, but the time limits is 8 minutes. So I can't go in detail, but I could give some bullet points. And I would be happy to explain all of the bullet points in the second phase of the seminar, that is interaction or question answer. The first is political instability is a permanent characteristic of the modern Nepal. The modern Nepal, if we say 1951, the day of introduction of democracy in Nepal, we are now at the 7 decades of the democratic experience. In this 7 decade of democratic experience, we observe 6 different constitutions. And we also observe 2 interruptions. One, a long interruption from 1962 to 1990 under the partyless system. And another interruption, we can say, from the day the king took back the power in 2002 to 2006. So in a history of political history of a country in the 7 decades, if you pass through with 6 different constitutions and 2 interruptions, so trajectory of democracy itself stand witness the statement what I have made till the date. Political instability is a permanent characteristic of the Nepalese politics. So how do we explain that? I will give up the history because of limited time. The present, the continuation or the present state of instability is an outcome of a number of factors. The first is the constitution what we have been governed now. The constitution lack a component of the social contract. Actually, a good constitution is a political document based on social contract. But the present constitution, what we have, it was promulgated, and that could be say as a symbol. The day I recall the promulgation of the constitution, 3 broader social categories or social groups reacted differently. People with dominant group, that of now the constitutional term is khas are, celebrated with candlelight. And on other extreme, people, the whole Madhes district and people of Madhesi ethnicity rejected that constitution with a call of the blackout. And in between these Khas Are and Madhesi, there are Janajati. They could neither celebrate nor could they go to the extent of extreme opposition like the protest. So Nepal is a country of 3 broad social categories. And any constitution without minimum level of consensus among these 3 groups, none of the political regime and system could be stable. Maybe this point needs more interpretation and elaboration that I would be happy to join in the second phase. Third is the contradiction. Contradiction A is the system we have revived is the parliamentary system. But in the post-2060, we have been observing the communist heavy among the political forces. What communist heavy means communists are indoctrinated with theory of the capture of the state power. So parliamentary system, one way or others, run in a spirit of rule by majority, respect with the minority, means power proliferation, power diffusion, constant negotiation, constant dialogue, and eventually the outcome should be the reconciliation. But the communist, whenever you have a communist happy, your regime will be, officially it could be a parliamentary system, but practically it will be the power concentration into the party and power. B contradiction is the system we have introduced is federal system. The federal design, what this constitution has adopted, it completely rejected and refused to get reflection of the ethnic social diversity of Nepal. It is simply a minor revision of previous administrative division of Nepal into 5 development regions. So the boundary is created in such a way, out of 7 provinces, in 6 provinces, one single community constitute as either the absolute majority or the pluralistic majority, which means power is in the hand of one single ethnic group which has long been ruling in this country from the day of the unification of Nepal in the 1760, I'd say 500 still. Actually, the mandate of the 2006 popular uprising that relates to the moment before and after. Before moment means the Maoist insurgency, and Maoist leaders might have some tactical game, but the people understood that the outcome of the whole Maoist campaign is it is about an assuration of the distribution of political power among the different ethnic groups. And the federal system, what it was in the initial phase of discourse, is championed as a system that measure all the ethnic groups will have a say or political space. But the federal system, what it has adopted, it does not allow the natural course of federal system. Federal system demands power diffusion, power proliferation. But the end product is now the federal system, what we have been adopting, it is federal in the name, but unitary in essence. That I would be happy to elaborate this statement in the next session. The other point is the problem is transformation of the political parties from the moment to power-seeking organization. I understand the crux of the politics is all about the struggle for power. But what is the logic and rationale to this in the power is you should have some policy, plan, and principle that should be translated. But unfortunately, if Nepali political parties has transferred from moment organization to power seeking organization, we could have a better system if political parties transfer from the moment organization to the policy seeking organization, where we miss. And this has an additional problem that democracy is all about the circulation of the elites. But politics has long been taken as a profession. A person who involved in the politics, he or she will stand over there till his death. Then you will have to suffer from the bad outcome when politics is taken as a profession. Politics should not be a profession. And when politics has become profession, it has another interrelated, associated, unfair, I don't have appropriate words. The things is, in the stable democracy, in the developed democracy, the loser will clear the way, and loser will take out from the power. At one point, we heard Iron Lady of the UK, but once she was kicked out from the party, she is no longer appear in the active politics. We can see how many presidents America have experienced, but the person in the presidential post, when he or he left from the power, the loser will clear the Maidan. But here, the loser will be allowed to enter, if not in the main door, but from the window. The person who loses the internal elections, whether in Nepali Congress or Emale, in the presidential or chairmanship race, those who lose, he will be awarded as a second in the ranking or the portfolio. When loser does not need to make it empty, automatically the loser will, and the politics will be like a game of the personality-centric factional politics. Personality-centric factional politics, if it has to work even in the rough way, it demands some sort of a compromise power sharing. The party, the person in the number one, or say the person who reached in the post of Prime Minister, whether it is the case of Sher Bahadur Depa or whether it was the case of Girija Prasad Koirala, whether it is the case of now the Khargavali. They don't want to share the power.
Can you please summarize, sir, now? It's been just 2 minutes left.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, I will stop here.
Okay.
The 5-6 bullet points, the general, and that I put in the overall map of the political instability in Nepal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, fine. This is my first was the observation.
Okay, thank you.
I would be happy to come later in the person analysis.
Thank you, Professor. And now I'd like to go to our, fourth speaker, Dr. Savitri Thapa Gurung, and you also have 8 minutes to finish your remark.
Thank you. The topics given to me is Nepal's political instability, breaking the vicious circle. I directly go to the causes. First, I have taken lack of strong leadership. It is said that Nepalese people and the leadership are successful to carry on with different kind of revolution in different time. But after the revolution, they lack the management. They lack the management. The leader of political parties are failed to run their parties. And it is said that the Constitution of 2015, it is said that the Constitution 2015 is the best constitution, but there is a question of legitimacy. The party is driven by leaders, but they are not democratic, or they deny the transformation which is written in Constitution. The legitimacy of Constitution has been questioned. Leaders should have visionary thought. The leaders should be qualitative. They should have quality, common sense, integrity. But except some visionary leaders, most leaders lack these qualities. They focus on continuity in power, not the nation building. Most of the leaders are from older generation. Young leaders are rare in leadership. No leadership are from younger generation. Young leaders are rare in leadership. No leadership prepare future leaders which can lead the nation afterwards. They go on, continue until the death. No one has given serious thought in this part. No leader want to provide leadership to the younger generation, nor the younger generation are able to take leadership from older generation. All leadership seems feudals. The changes have not been able to get legitimacy. Another point I have taken is lack of political culture. The leaders, most of the political parties think everything is possible for them. They do not need to follow rule of law. In fact, it has become a culture in Nepal that if leaders like, anything is possible for them. They do not need to follow rule of law or vis-a-vis the Constitution. What they speak, they do different in implementation. Another point I have taken is institution building or welfare state. A vast difference is in education. The education system should be governed by the state. There should not be any difference between the education which is expensive and the education which is government owned. The state should guarantee health, education, social security, and the rule of law, because these are fundamental rights of the people. No one should be treated differently. Such as just now and some days before, some month, so many people died by corona because they didn't have access to hospital or hospital bed. I was also affected, but since I could knew one AIG, so I got one bed in APF hospital. Otherwise, there is no possibility of good health. A state should be a welfare state, giving emphasis on education, health service, and social security, which is lacking. So making it also has the role to make a state in stability. Implementation of policy and the constitution. Every fundamental rights, inclusion in different organs of the state, proportional representation are there in constitution, but these are not implemented properly. It's on letter, but not in spirit. State should have focused on fundamental rights like access to health, education, etc., but it has not been able to implement such kind of fundamental human rights, which is the primary requirement for the people. State should focus on bread and butter of the people also. Another point I have taken is good governance. The bureaucracy in Nepal are also responsible for instability of Nepal. They lack the leadership or they lack decision making. Because of their weaknesses, only 10 to 20% of the budget are implemented, and the last month of the fiscal year, such as this month, Ashad, they want to finish the budget. Other 11 months, they just see and stay. Because of their weaknesses, so many projects are not implemented, and from so many years. And corruption is rampant in every sector of state organs. Either it is policy corruption or it is another forms of corruption. Without some extra money, no person is able to find any project or any work or any job, either it is road construction or any kind of other construction related job. Another point I have taken is merit system.
Ma'am, you have 2 more minutes to.
Okay. Although the leaders talk about merit system, but merit of person has been almost neglected when it comes to give some opportunities such as political appointment or another job to the people. Instead of merit, people from relation, family, clan, or people from party affiliation or person may be which can be used for their interest are given priorities in different organs of the state and government, especially in political appointment and other opportunities. Submissive culture are the main way to get good opportunity. It has been developed as a main characteristic to get the opportunity. Media and civil society also have not been able to play crucial role or independent role. All the sector of the society are bipartisan. Every person play bipartisan role to get opportunities. People, either bureaucracy or any other sector, have not been able to play independent role. The leaders have not adapted the changes which is written in the Constitution and which is the demand of the time. Inclusion and proportional representation is only rhetoric. These are not implemented properly. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for finishing your presentation on time. Now we have finished the first round of conversation, and so basically to summarize what has been come as a kind of the important point from the discussion is that, I mean, the Constitution has been considered as one of the factors that has contributed to the political instability, and almost all speakers have talked about that. The second one that has been kind of emphasized from all speakers is that the role of leadership and the political institution and the function of political institutions, and the third one is the governance issues and the failure of governance, or leaders or the system not addressing the expectation of the people has also been a contributing factors to the political instability. And along with that, many other factors, the historical context, other social context has also brought into discussion. But I just want to go with some of the questions that that participant has raised here. So the first question that I want to take, that question goes to Professor Ganga Thapa. So, so the question is about why democracy is unstable system. Could you see the examples of US or India? So why do you think that it is an unstable system? So can you please respond to that question?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, that my intention is that that political system are more stable, more peaceful, that in the totalitarian and authoritarian system. Democracy is unstable in the sense that every 4 years and 5 years we have the elections and you have new policies, new leadership, so that in that context. So that was my intention. And that talking about the things, that let me very briefly that we democratic people, we believe in the elections. The in Nepal election held for 6 times after 1990, and all elections are free, fair, and fearless. And that let us forget about who is in the power, who is not in the power, because communists are in the power because of we elected them. Congress in the power is because we elected them. So that let us not the discriminate one or two things. So election is the the main. And in Nepal, that whatever the that disagreement with the constitutions and on political parties participated in the policy making process, all are contest the election, or are in the the government system, so that it is a legitimized and that more, that participatory, that constitution. In that context, I am talking. My only saying is that, that every 5 years and 4 years there is elections, and the new political groups, new leadership, they make new changes, they formulate new policies. So that in that context, that this is a kind of unstable system. The unstable means that, there is a change of requirement, there's kind of change of policy, there's kind of change in the priorities. In that context, I was talking about the political system is a little, unstable. That it is not like authoritarian and totalitarian system.
Okay, thank you,
So,
sir. Yeah, and there is like a question to Rakesh, sir. The question is like, how would a new constitution be different if the political actors' geostrategic reality and domestic political constant remain the same? Does not this argument hint at a deep political crisis in Nepal, which again throws light to a possible continuation of the political crisis, thus pushing Nepal further into the abyss of political instability for the foreseeable future? Rakesh, sir?
It's very unfortunate to say that, yeah, I mean, I see Nepal going into a deeper political crisis in the future with the current political class at the head. I'll not blame much on the international community because we have a lot of conspiracy theories already going around that whatever happens, India does it or China does it. So I'm not a believer in conspiracy theory. Rather, I blame the political class here. I mean, but there could be, some ways like internal democracy in party. By internal democracy, what we usually understand that Prasad can replace Oli, or Bharat Nepal can replace Oli, or Bimla can replace Sher Bahadur. But if you see, there has not been much debate on the social issues within the political parties historically. I mean, particularly after 1990, Maoists, they had some meaningful discussion. I mean, I'm not a big Maoist sympathizer, but if you look at their document, they had some really meaningful discussion within their party. In Congress, a leader like Ganesh Mansi, when he raised social issues, he was sidelined, simply. In UML, there was a bit of discussion on ideological issues on Nolo Darbar and things like that. But other discussions are just sucked down. I mean, people suck them up. Like Rajan Amato said that let us discuss about whether Nepal is a Bahul Rastriya Raja or not, and then we shut him down. So this culture of shutting down the discussion, if the new generation is more, accommodative, they are more open, they listen to others. I mean, it's not necessary that everybody believes in my viewpoint, but there should be an forum, particularly political party, where we can discuss all those issues. And about system of governance, I think we can be innovative. We don't have to copy India, China, or Britain, or our USA presidential system, French model, Swiss model, this model, that model. We can try something new. I mean, and there's quite foreseeable. Let's make autonomy. Let us define autonomy in a new way. There could be possibilities. Why we need a national constitution? Can we discuss that? If we have a constitution for a smaller unit, why we need one for the whole nation? We can think about changing decentralized federal state into the union of the state. That could be one way to accommodate different viewpoints. So there are ways, I think, where about neighbors. I mean, I have already said that we cannot change them. We cannot compare Tinathanka and Jogbani for next 100 years. So we have to, it sounds like, and I'm ready to claim to be an Indian agent here, but I do advocate that we need, for the sake of the country, for the sake of its people, we need a special relationship with India. This false pride in sovereignty, which was never a case, Nepal was never a sovereign country. in any sense except for between Shah. So let us think in diplomatic relations according to the new reality that we can find way out. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Rakesh sir. There are like two questions that is, to the Professor Hachhethu. So the first one is like, how do you analyze the political course in the last 7 decades in terms of external influence? And the second question is also very, very similar to that. So the geopolitical effect or a domestic political situation, which one's intensity is more in Nepal?
Prakash, I have already read the question what I received.
Okay.
There are all three questions. The two questions are on the same content, Pawan Ray and Ashish Adhikari.
Yeah.
And your query or your question is, which is the vital factor for political instability in Nepal? Is it primarily a homegrown or a spillover effect of the present form of the Cold War between two competitive powers, India and China, right? I should say, any bilateral or multilateral relations, when there is state of asymmetry, it would definitely have impact, but the root and the impact is different. You can resist the impact or influence from outside the home if you live with healthy environment. But when you live with very dusty and muddy or crumbling way, automatically the level and scale of external role influence will be heightened. My simple response to this question is, if you want to find out the roots, we have to look within the Nepal. And others is supplementary and complementary factor. The second questions put by the Pitambar is there prospect to look back the Nepal in the state of the first CA time or the regime or system guided by the interim constitution? My response is, I'm not sure whether the entire scenario, including political equation in the coming days, will be exactly the same what it was at the time of the CA first or interim constitution. But I see a clear contradiction of mandate between two sources. One is mandate of the movement and revolution. You can see the mandate and revolutionary or movement mandate in Mao's insurgency, in Madh's upheaval, and ethnic Janajati rise. But this country, if you have to make your political system compatible to social composition, which is to say in one word, Nepal is a country of multi-ethnicity. Sooner or later, you will be able to travel in good way if you can one way or other make that a political structure is mirror of social composition. I think this is the response what I say. Exactly, it will not be copied after what it was the situation of the first year and the interim constitution. My response is the mandate provided by revolution movement has its own root, impact, and influence in the mindset of the people. And a better way is you will get a healthy political environment as much as you structure the political power, taking into due consideration of the social diversity. That's my response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So there is also one question to Dr. Gurung. So you had, like in your presentation, you had mentioned something about the lack of political culture. So the question is like, do they need like another 100 years to?
I have a problem in net now, so I'm leaving.
Thank you. So do they need like another 100 years to inculcate or develop it? So like, what is your response on this question?
So what I mean to say that they should, I didn't mean to say that they should get some more years or some 100 or 50 years. I mean to say they should have developed the political culture by now. I mean to say that. And about CIA, I did what we were, because I was not only one. So I did what we were authorized to do. And I tried my hard not to punish the innocent people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gurung, for your response. And since it's been a kind of late night kind of session, so I think and we're already like out of running out of time. So I would like to thank you all the distinguished speakers for your very valuable remarks, and definitely it has raised like some important issues for future discussion, that how Nepal should proceed for assuring a stable like political environment. And one of the conclusions that we can draw from this session is that political instability should not just be considered as the day-to-day political event that we are experiencing, that rather than we should look at from a more broader perspectives, and a lot of like factors that is contributing to the political instability. So I think having said that, I would like to end this session, and once again thank you for your valuable time to this important panel. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Prakash.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have come to the end of this session, we would like to express a sincere gratitude and thanks to the chair for agreeing to chair and moderate the session today. A sincere thanks also goes to all the speakers for being a part of the event and delivering such comprehensive and convincing presentations. We would like to acknowledge the diplomat community, experts, academia, media, and different organizations. Finally, we must also mention our deep sense of appreciation for the audience who participated in the webinar and those who are watching us live. Thank you for your valuable time and attention, and for making this session productive with your questions. Once again, we are truly honored to have you all with us today. Please do join us in the next session. Thank you so much.